Peter, in just this one area, would you show us some of the things that you would eat?
Okay, this is a hedgehog cactus, which is a pretty good food source in the desert. For some people it takes a little getting used to, but it seems to be fairly safe. I've eaten quite a bit of it. In real hot weather, we can eat this cactus just raw, but in cold weather it must be cooked in order to eat it, and add best too if we can add a little salt to it. And what I usually do when I'm eating it is I cut it up in really small pieces and then cook it in water until the water becomes very thick and viscous like ochre or egg white water. And then I add some salt to it, and I just drink the juice, but I don't eat the actual cactus parts. And I've found been able to get a lot of strength from it and be able to hike a long distance. I have found, though, that sometimes when we eat this, especially if we drink a little too much of it in the evening, that a lot of times people will get sick from it. Now you'll notice that these sort of have white thorns on them. There's basically two kinds of hedgehog cactus, white thorn ones and red thorn ones, and the white thorn ones seem to be the safest to eat. And I peel it pretty much like a cucumber, and then I take the top off of it. Basically peel this thing sort of like a cucumber. Now this same plant that you see here, we've had a fairly wet winter, but as the year rolls on and it gets drier and drier, this cactus is going to shrink in size dramatically. And it will, by the end of the summer, this thing will probably only be a quarter the size it is right now. And then when it rains and so forth in the winters, it'll swell back up again. And to transplant these cactus, you can cut some of these spears off, or the whole unit, cut them off, and then lay them on their side in a little groove in the ground, and then they'll start growing again and make more clumps of them. So it's nice to know how to propagate these things that we use too. Anyway, this is the process of getting the hedgehog cactus open to where we can get at it to use it without having to get our fingers all stuck. Then I can just cut it off here. And you'll find the texture of it's quite slimy. Here, I'll cut it open so you can see the inside. So there's a kind of a woody core goes up through the middle, but this part out here on the edges is real slimy and soft. And
It's kind of slimy, though.
Yeah, very slimy. And it slimes up in your mouth real good and everything, too.
To survive, you do it.
The one thing